So good afternoon, students. So, uh, so our subject is microprocessor and microcontrollers. Okay. Mm, So this is our syllabus. So in the first unit, we are going to we're going to study about the architecture of 8086 and instruction sets and assembly language programming. Okay. So for writing any assembly language programming, so you need to know about the instruction sets of 8086 and also this programming. Okay. So we'll see so many instruction sets like arithmetic, logical, branch, string manipulations. Some instruction sets will be there. And then the second unit, you will study about the microcontroller 8051. Okay. So this is a 8086 is a microprocessor. Okay. 8051 is nothing but a microcontroller. So overview of 8051 microcontroller architecture and ports. Okay. We study about the memory organization, addressing modes and instruction sets, and how we can use this 8051 in the real-time control. It means inbuilt you have some timers and interrupt sources will be there. So and serial communication. So we'll study about the timer programming and the interrupt programming and serial communication in 8051 real-time control. Okay. So this will come under the second unit. And in the third unit, we'll study about how we can interface the IO devices. So how we can interface the 8051 with the IO devices, IO and memory interface like LCD, keyboard, external RAM, ROM, okay, ADC, unlock to digital converter, digital to unlock converter. So how we can interface with these peripherals with the 8051 microcontroller. Okay, and you will study about the serial communication standards, and mode of the transfer. You have two types of communication: synchronous and asynchronous communication. And you have the onboard communication. So we study about I2C, SPI, UART, and external communication interface like RS-232 and ES. Okay. So till here you will study about 8086 microprocessor and 8051 microcontroller. The fourth unit you will study about one of the important high-end processor, that is ARM architecture. ARM is nothing but advanced estimation. Okay. So in this fourth unit you are going to study about ARM processor fundamentals, ARM architecture, and registers, CPS, current program status register, and about the pipelining, exceptions, interrupt, and ARM instruction sets. Okay, and there are some instruction sets like the data processing, branch instructions, load store, software interrupt instructions. These instructions will be there, and also we will study about some conditional executions and introduction to the some instructions. Okay, and in the fifth unit we will study about advanced ARM process, that is a introduction to Cortex processor. Okay, we have M4 processors will be there. Cortex its architecture, and OMAP processor and its architecture. Okay, we study about basically these two ARM Cortex processor and OMAP processor. Okay, so this is about our syllabus. And next, so our books you can refer advanced microprocessor and peripherals by Kerry. Okay, KM Buchanan. Okay, so this is second edition. And for a microcontroller, you can refer Kenneth J. Ayala, or you can go for Muhammad Ali Majidi. The soft copy is available with me. If you want, I will share you. Okay, for the programming purpose, you can go for the Majidi. And reference books, you can go for my microprocessor and interfacing by Douglas V. Hall. Okay, this is one of the beautiful books. You can go if you want more knowledge about the microprocessor. You can go through this book. And next, 8051 microcontroller by Umar Rao. Okay, so architecture and programming and applications. Okay, so you can go for the low process. For the first unit, you can go for Nadur Kani, and second and third unit, you can go for Uday Shankar. Okay, these are about the books. And coming to NPTEL, so if you want to see more, if you want more knowledge about this, you can go through this NPTEL courses, microprocessor and peripheral devices by Dr. Pramod Agarwal, IIT Roorkee. So this is the link, and microprocessor and microcontroller by Professor Krishna Kumar, IIC Bangalore. Here are some important materials will be available. You can go through that. This is the link. Okay, so now we'll go to the uh, so basic thing, microprocessor. We'll go into the subject. Is it okay, students? Am I audible?
Okay, sir.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. My voice is okay or it's breaking? Somebody, I got a message. I got a message, sir, your voice is breaking. Now is it okay? Now is it okay? Is it okay means I will go forward. I'll move forward. Okay. So, so coming to the microprocessor, so I will explain you about the basic thing, the microprocessor. Okay. So microprocessor is nothing but we call it a MUPI. Okay, MUPI. So this is a brain of a computer. Brain of a computer. So it has been implemented on a semiconductor. That means it's a single IC. Okay, so single IC. So it's one semiconductor chip. Okay, it's a semiconductor. So we basically call as a brain of a computer. That means all the processing, whatever the processing will be done by the microprocessor. Okay, it is a combination of micro, and processor. Okay, so why we call this as a micro means this was the invented. This microprocessor is invented. You have some VLSI is there, very large scale integration. So very large scale integration they will made the ICs in terms of technology. We call this as a technology. Technology means micrometer technology, nanometer technology. mm, like this, they will call this technology. That means that they will do the MOSFET. Okay, MOSFET. I think in EDC you already studied. You have gate, drain, and source. Okay, so that the distance between drain and source we call as a WL ratio. Okay, so that means they will make a chip with this technology. That means micrometer technology. That's why we call this. They invented during that technology, micrometer. So that's why we call it a microprocessor. So processor means it will do all the processing. So processor means the device process whatever the binary numbers. It will process only the binary numbers, zeros and ones. Okay. So process means what? Process means it will manipulate. Okay. That means it will do all the manipulations. Okay. So our micro means already called, we call also called extremely small. Okay. So this is one of the reason, and this is also another reason why we call this as a microprocessor. Okay. So definition of microprocessor, if you see, it's a programmable device. So microprocessor is a programmable device. So programmable device means we can program that microprocessor. Okay, so that means we can give some set of instructions, so that based on that instructions, whatever I want some application, I want to display my name on the LCD. Okay, so that means based on that I can write a program, and I can load the hex file into that microprocessor. So when I run that microprocessor, I will get the specified output. My name will be displayed on the LCD. That's why we can program the microprocessor. That's why we call this as a programmable device. Okay, so uh, that takes the numbers and perform them arithmetic and logical operation. That means it will take the inputs. Okay, it takes the numbers, so it will perform the arithmetic and logical operations. Okay, it will perform the large arithmetic means what? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, so logical operation means and, or, not, x, or whatever the logical operations will be there. So it will do these two operations, arithmetic and logical operations, and whatever the output you are getting, that program will be stored in the memory. Okay, so that the output, the program will be stored in the memory and produce other number as a result. So that means produces some other numbers as a result. Suppose if I want to do a plus b. Okay, so yeah, that means a plus b. So I am taking a equal to some 6, b equal to some 4. Okay, so this 6 I need to load in one register. Okay, and this 4 I need to store in some other register. I can do add a comma bx. I will get the result. So I can store that result in the some of the memory location. Okay, so this is the basic definition of the microprocessor. Okay, so the microprocessor is a programmable device that takes in numbers, perform an on them arithmetic and logical operations according to the program stored in the memory. So there will be some program that will be stored in the memory and produces other number as a result. Okay, so this is the basic definition of the microprocessor. Okay, uh, so this is one more definition. Microprocessor is a multi-programmable. It will do multiple operations. Multi-programmable means what? It will do the multiple operations. Clock driven. Clock driven means you should give some clock to the microprocessor. So that means, example, we are the human beings. We have the heart. Okay. So that means based on the heart, remaining all the organs will be synchronized along with the heart. That means heart will give the pumping to the each and every body part, so that we will work. Okay. So same as like that, microprocessor need a clock. Okay. So clock driven. That means it need a like, external clock, so that based on that clock, okay, all the peripherals, remaining peripherals will be synchronized with the clock. Okay, so that's why we call it a multi-programmable clock driven. Okay, register based semiconductor device. It's a semiconductor device. So we call this a register based. That means it consists of set of registers. Okay, it consists of set of registers. Okay, so register based clock driven and used to fetch, process, execute a data within a fraction of seconds. So that means within a fraction of seconds, it will fetch the data and it will process the data and it will execute the data. Okay, so this is so within a fraction of seconds, these three operations will be done. Okay, fetch, process, and execute. Okay, so this is the microprocessor. Can you able to see the slides, students?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Please give response. Okay. So whatever I'm writing, can you able to see on the slide?
You are
Set
not
of
having.
No, sir.
not okay. 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 So applications of the microprocessor, if you see, calculator. Okay. So calculator, if you see, calculator, what the calculator will do? Calculator will do some perform some numerical operations like arithmetic, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Some if you see the scientific calculator, you can do some more operations on the calculator. So that means inside the calculator, what will be there? There will be some some chip will be there. That is nothing but the microprocessor. We will use microprocessor in the calculator that will do the general purpose operation, general calculation operation. Okay, and next accounting system. Okay, accounting system means we can use the microprocessor in the accounting system, games machine. Okay, instrumentation, traffic light control. Okay, so traffic light control, if you see, so based on the traffic condition, that means more traffic is there, so that we should set the timer such a way that we have to control the four sides. That means microcontroller should control the four sides, so that we can use this microprocessor in traffic light control system. And multi-user, multi-function environment, military applications, we can use in the military applications. Okay, and communication system. Okay, so we can use these are the some applications of the microprocessor. Okay, so when you go for the microprocessor history, so from where the microprocessor evolution came. Okay, so these are the different processors available. So this is the socket type, and this is the pinless microprocessor. It doesn't consist of any pins. And this is a processor, and this is a slot processor. Slot processor means we can keep in a slot like that. Okay, so this is a processor slot, so we can keep. So yeah, whatever the slot type processor is there, we can keep in that processor slot. Okay, these are the different processors available. Okay, so development of Intel processor. So if you see the development of Intel processor, in 1979, it developed a first micro 16-bit. This is a 16-bit microprocessor. Okay, so this is a 16-bit microprocessor. Okay, so 8086. This is a part number 8086. 8086. The Intel is a company. Okay, it's invented during 1979. Okay, and in 1982 they invented 286 80286, and 1985 they invented 80386, and 1989 they invented 80486, And as you know that Pentium, so Pentium came into picture at around 1993, Pentium Pro 1995, Pentium MMX is there, so they came in 1997, and next you got Pentium 2 in 1997, Pentium 2 Celeron 1998, Pentium 2 Xeon 1998, Pentium 3 1999, okay, Pentium 3 Xeon 1999, and Pentium 4 2000, and Pentium 4 Xeon 2001. So these are nothing but means they year by year what they did, they made some modifications, and they first they invented 4-bit microprocessor, and next they invented 8-bit microprocessor, and next some couple of years they invented 32-bit microprocessor. Like that, year by year they made some development in the microprocessor. Okay, so if you see the generations of microprocessor, so this is the processor 8080. This is a 8-bit processor, and speed is 2 megahertz. Okay, and 8086 is a 16-bit processor. Okay, so that means
So did
when
you
I
change the style
it's not changing. 1 second.
in micro basic processor?
Pardon?
So now it is changing, sir.
Now it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Generations of the processor. Is it okay? Okay. So if you see the generations of the processor, you have 8088. It is a 16-bit processor, and the speed is 4.5 to 10 megahertz. 80286. This is a 16-bit processor. Okay. So that means when we call this as a 8-bit processor, 8-bit processor means when you are giving, that means all the registers present in the 8080 processor is a 8-bit only. So that means when you are giving a 16-bit data to the 8-bit processor, it will process, it will divide that 16-bit data into 8 bits. Okay, it will process the data. Okay, so coming to 16-bit processor means all the registers are of 16 bits. Suppose when you are giving 32-bit data, it will divide that into 16 bits, and it will process the data. Okay. Similarly, 80386 is a 32-bit processor, and the speed is 20 to 40 megahertz. Okay. 804866 32-bit processor, and 40 to 133 megahertz. Okay. So these are the generations of the microprocessor. Okay. So, and next Pentium. So if you see the Pentium is a 32-bit processor, and the speed is 62. This is the clock speed. This is nothing but the third column is nothing but the clock speed, 62 to 233 megahertz. And the Pentium Pro. So whatever the slide I'm reading, I'm explaining you. Can you able to see Pentium processor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pentium Pro, it's a 32-bit and the speed is 150 to 200 megahertz. And the Pentium 2 Celeron Xeon is a 32-bit and the clock speed is 233 to 450 megahertz. So no need to remember, just you need some idea about these generations of the processor. Okay. And the Pentium 3 Celeron and Xeon is a 32-bit, and this is the clock frequency 450 megahertz to 1.4 megahertz. And Pentium 4 Celeron and Xeon is a 32-bit, and the clock speed is 1.3 gigahertz to 3.8 gigahertz. And next one is Atanium. This is a 64-bit processor, and the clock speed is 800 megahertz to 3 gigahertz. Okay, so we'll see from the starting onwards, like the basic microprocessor. This is a 4004, Intel 4004. Okay, so this is the first microprocessor introduced by the Intel. Okay, so this is introduced during the year 1971. Okay, this is the first microprocessor by the Intel. Okay, so this is the first microprocessor by the Intel. Okay, so this is the part number C4004 is this is the part number. Okay, so it's a 4-bit microprocessor, and the clock speed is 740 kilohertz, and it consists of total 2300 transistors. Okay, so total 2300 transistors will be fabricated in this Intel 4004. Okay, So it can execute around 60,000 instructions per second. It can execute 60,000 instructions per second. Okay. So this is the first microprocessor 4004. Okay. Next, Intel 4040. It is introduced around 1971. So it is also a 4-bit microprocessor. Okay, 4-bit microprocessor. Intel 4004 is the first microprocessor, and next Intel 4040. Okay, and next, if you see the 8-bit microprocessor, so 8-bit microprocessor Intel 8008. Okay, 8008. This is introduced around uh, the year 1972. Okay, it's a first 8-bit microprocessor. Okay, so clock speed is 500 kilohertz, and it can execute 50,000 instructions per second. It can execute 50,000 instructions per second. Okay, so this is Intel 8008, and next is Intel 8080. This is introduced around 1974. It was 8-bit microprocessor, and its clock speed is 2 megahertz, and it have total 6,000 transistors. Okay, 6,000 transistors in 8080. Okay, so this is a famous microprocessor. This is a Intel 8085. Okay, so Intel 8085, it is introduced around 1976. Okay, so initially before 8086, in the old syllabus, they used to learn this Intel 8085. Okay, so this is a 8-bit microprocessor, and the clock speed is 3 megahertz, and it consists of data bus and address bus. Data bus is how much? 8-bit, and address bus is 16-bit. Okay, so data bus is 8-bit and address bus is 16-bit. So total it consists of 6,500 transistors. So it can execute 7,69,230 instructions per second. Okay, so these many instructions it can execute per second. Okay, so it can access up to 64 kilobytes of external memory. Okay, so it can access up to 64 kilobytes of external memory. So it had total how many instructions? 246 instructions. Okay, so remember this microprocessor is CISC architecture. CISC means what? Complex instruction set computer. It consists of complex instructions. Okay, so you need to remember some hundreds of instructions before working on this micro processor. Okay, and next 16-bit microprocessor, if you see Intel 8086. Okay, so we are going to learn about this Intel 8086. Okay, so it is introduced around 1978, and this is a 16-bit microprocessor, and the clock speed means it will be available in 3 different variants. Okay, so 8086 1, 8086 8086, 8086 1, and 8086 2. Okay, so that means so 8086 have the clock frequency of 4.77 megahertz, and 8086 1 is having 8 megahertz clock frequency, and 8086 2 is having 10 megahertz clock frequency. Okay, so they can ask in the Viva lab Viva, or in bits they can ask what is the range of clock frequency for 8086. So what is the range of clock frequency? You can write 4 to 10 megahertz. This is the range of clock frequency of 8086. Okay, so it consists of data bus and address bus. So data bus is of 16-bit, and address bus is of how many bit? 20-bit. Data bus is 16-bit, and address bus is, even it is a 16-bit microprocessor, and the address bus is how much? 20-bit. Okay, so it has 29,000 transistors, and it can execute 2.5 million. 1 million equal to how many? 10 lakhs, no? 2.5 million instructions per second. Can execute 2.5 million instructions per second. So how much memory it can access? 1 MB of memory. So you should remember 1 kilo equal to how much? 2 power 10. 1 mega equal to what? 2 power 20. 1 giga equal to 2 power 30. 1 tera equal to 2 power 40. Okay. So that means we are talking about the digital circuits. These are the digital circuits. So those will process only the binary values. That means either binary values or hexa values. So those will be we will talk about kilo, mega, giga, tera. Okay, kilo equal to, so that means binary values. What is the radix for the binary values? 2. So that's why 1 kilo equal to what? 2 power 10. 1 mega equal to 2 power 20. 1 giga equal to 2 power 30. 1 tera equal to what? 2 power 40. So it has total 22,000 transistors, and it has multiply and divide instructions. So this is one of the development compared to the 8085. 8085 doesn't consist of multiply and divide instructions, whereas 8086 consists of multiply and divide instructions. Okay, so if you see, next one is Intel 8088. So this is invented, this is introduced around 1979. This is also a 16-bit microprocessor. This is a this is also we also called as a cheaper version of Intel's 8086. Okay, it has created as a cheaper version of Intel 8086. So it has a 16-bit processor with 8-bit external bus. Okay, so 8088. And next 80186, 80188. Okay, so this is introduced around 1982, and this is a 16-bit microprocessor, and the clock speed is 6 megahertz. The clock speed of 80186 and 80188 is 6 megahertz, and the 80188 is a cheaper version of 80186. Okay, consists of 8-bit external bus. Okay, so and next 80286. So it is introduced around 1982. So it was a 16-bit microprocessor, and the clock speed is 8 megahertz, and it consists of the 16-bit data bus, and the address bus is 24-bit. Okay, so 80286 has a address bus of 24-bit, and it can address up to 16 megabytes, and it have 1,34,000 transistors. Okay, total it have 1,34,000 transistors. Okay, so next, so till now I explained about the 16-bit microprocessor. 16, 8-bit, 4-bit, 8-bit, and 16-bit. 4-bit microprocessors are Intel 4004, 4040. 8-bit microprocessor are Intel 8008, 8085. 16-bit microprocessor are 8086. These all are the part numbers: 8086, 80186, 8088, 80186, 80188, 80286. Okay. So now I will tell you about the 32-bit. 32-bit means it will at a time it can process the 32-bit data, and all the registers are of how many bit? 32-bit only. Okay. So Intel 80386. If you see Intel 80386, so it is introduced around 1986. This is a 32-bit microprocessor, and data bus is 32-bit, and address bus is also 32-bit. Okay, it can address up to 4 gigabytes, and it consists of total 2,75,000 transistors. Okay, and clock speed is 16 megahertz to, it will vary from 16 megahertz to 33 megahertz. Okay, so based on the version, depending on the versions, it will vary. Okay, so next Intel 80486. Okay, it is introduced around 1989. So it has it is also 32-bit microprocessor. So it consists of total 1.2 million transistors, and the clock speed is 12 megahertz to 100 megahertz, and also it has also 8-bit cache memory. Okay, so what is the purpose of cache memory? Means in order to increase the speed of data transfer, we are using this cache memory. Okay, it consists of 8 kilobytes of cache memory. And Pentium. So Pentium is introduced around 1993. It is also a 32-bit microprocessor. So it is originally named as 80586. So previously this is 80486. No? So Pentium we have called as 80586. Okay. So speed is 66 megahertz, and the data bus is 32-bit, and address bus is also 32-bit. Okay. And next Pentium Pro is there. Pentium Pro is introduced around 1995. So this is a 32-bit, and it consists of total 21 million transistors, and the cache memory is 8 kilobytes of instructions and 8 kilobytes per data. Okay, so totally it consists of 16 kilobytes of cache memory. Okay, and Pentium 2. So this is a slot type microprocessor, so we can keep in a slot. Okay, this is introduced around 1997. So 32-bit microprocessor, and the clock speed is 233 to 500 megahertz. So it can execute 333 million instructions per second. Okay, this is a Pentium 3 and Pentium 2 Xeon. Okay, so so if you relate this Pentium 2 and Pentium 2 Xeon, so the difference is only with the clock speed. Okay, Pentium 2 is having the clock speed of 233 to 500 megahertz, and it consists of, it is 400 to 450 megahertz. So mainly it is designed for the servers. Okay, Pentium 2 Xeon is basically it is designed for the servers. Okay, so Pentium 3, if you see, it is introduced around 1999. So it is also 32-bit microprocessor. The speed is 500 megahertz to 1.4 gigahertz, and it consists of 9.5 million transistors. Okay, Pentium 3. Okay, and Pentium 4. So it is introduced around 2000. It was also 32-bit microprocessor, and the clock speed is 1.3 gigahertz to 3.8 gigahertz, and 42 million transistors. It consists of total 42 million transistors. Okay, and next after Pentium, you got a dual core. Dual core means what? Two CPUs will be there. No? So dual core is introduced around 2006. So it is of 32-bit and 64-bit. Okay, Intel Pentium dual core. Dual core means you have two CPUs. Okay, so two CPUs are connected with one bus interface. Okay, so 64-bit microprocessor. So Intel Core 2, Intel Core i3. Okay, this comes under the dual core, and next you have Intel Core i5, Intel Core i7. Okay, so these are the history of a basic microprocessor. Okay, is it okay? The history of microprocessor, how the microprocessor evolution is came, students. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
So before going into the subject about the 8086 microprocessor, you need to know about the basic terms which we are using in this subject. Okay, so the basic terms I will explain you. Okay, so first one is bit. Okay, so in the STLD you studied a bit. Bit is nothing but it's a digit of binary number 0 and 1. Okay, so digit of binary number 0 and 1 we call as a bit. Okay, this you need to remember. And a group of 4 bits we call as a nibble, and group of 8 bits we call as a byte, and group of 16 bits we call as a word. Okay, so group of 4 bits is nibble, group of 8 bits is byte, group of 16 bits is word. Group of means we call as a double word. So group of 32 bit we call as a double word. Group of 16 bit is word. Group of 32 bit is a double word. Okay. And next data. So data means binary number or code operated by an instruction. So data may be a binary number or a binary code. Okay, that will be operated on instruction. Okay, that we call as a data. Address is nothing but identification number for memory location. Suppose if you want to find some value in some 2000 location. So 2000 is nothing but one address. Okay, address is nothing but identification of a number for memory location. Okay, clock. What is a clock? Clock is nothing but a square wave used to synchronize various devices in the microprocessor. Okay, as I told you one example, like we are the human beings, we have the heart. Okay, heart will synchronize all the parts of the body. It will pump the blood to all the parts of the body, so that remaining parts of the body will work based on their uh, based on their operation. Okay, same like that, a microprocessor or a microcontroller, any it is a programmable device, need a clock. Okay, so clock is nothing but a square wave. So in the square wave, you have a falling edge and a rising edge, and this is a clock width. Okay, so in order to synchronize remaining all various devices, we need a clock. Okay, and memory capacity. So memory capacity is defined in terms of 2 power n. Okay, so 2 power n, where n is nothing but the number of address lines. Okay, so that means in memory capacity, suppose 2 power 10 is there. 2 power 10 means memory capacity is how much? 1 kilobyte. Suppose 2 power 16 is there. 2 power 16 means how we can write 2 power 6 into 2 power 10. 2 246 is 64. 64 2 4 10 is kilo. So the memory capacity is 64 kilobytes. So like this, you can write the memory capacity. Okay. So, and the bus concept. Okay. So you need to know about the bus concept. So what is bus? Bus is nothing but a group of conducting lines that carries data, address, and control signals. Okay. So these are so bus is nothing but a group of lines. Okay, group of lines that carries the data, address, and control lines. Okay. So if you see the types of buses or classification of buses, those are divided into data bus, address bus, and control bus. Okay. So what the data bus will do? Data bus will carries the data. Okay, group of database is nothing but a group of conducting lines that carries the data. So next, address bus. So what is address bus? It carries the address. Okay, so group of conducting lines that carries the address we call as the address bus. And control bus means we have some control lines like RD bar, read bar, write bar, except some control lines will be there. So that will be processed, that will be carried by the control bus. Okay, so some control signals which are carried by which bus? Control bus. Okay, CPU bus. CPU bus means what? Group of conducting line that directly connected to microprocessor. So, group of conducting lines that are directly connected we call as a CPU bus. System bus means uh, group of conducting line that carries data, address, and control signals is a microprocessor system. That means combining this data bus, control bus, and address bus we call as a system bus. Okay. So this is about the bus concept. And tri-state logic. If you see the tri-state logic, so there are the three logical levels for the tri-state logic: logic state, high logic state, low logic state, and high impedance state. Okay. So high impedance state is nothing but output is not being driven to any defined logic level. Okay. Suppose here, uh, so this is nothing but we call as a tri-state buffer. So this B bit is there. This will control this tri-state buffer. So when it is 1, whatever the input, suppose when B equal to 1, okay. So whatever the input you are giving to A, that will pass it to C. Okay. So when you are giving 0 to A, you are getting same 0 will pass it to C. So when you are giving 1 to A, the same 1 will be passed to C. Suppose when you are giving B as 0, okay, so that will be in open condition. We call it the high impedance state. That means whatever may be the value you are giving to A, either 0 or 1, so that's this like a open switch. Okay, it will be in the high impedance state. Okay, so this you need to remember about the tri-state logic. Okay, so so this is the basic microprocessor. So if you see, you have a central processing unit, CPU, input device, output device, and secondary storage device. So what are the input devices? You have keyboard, mouse, etc. These are the input. You need to give an input to the processor. So for that, you need an input device. So those are nothing but keyboard and mouse. Okay. And in the central processing unit, you have a control unit, arithmetic logic unit, ALU. Okay, ALU will perform all the arithmetic and logical operations, and the primary storage unit. Okay, and next you have output devices. Output device may be monitor or a printer, and so whatever the processing will be done, that should be stored in some secondary storage device. So the storage device may be we call as hard disk. Okay, disks. Okay, so that means in the computer or laptop you have the hard disk, no, or you can use the tapes or optical discs. Okay, CDs will be there, no, CDs. Okay, DVD drives, DVD drives will be there now. So we can see the data in optical disk. Okay, these will be used as secondary storage devices. So this is the basic microprocessor system. Okay, so this is our first unit, 8086 microprocessor. So in this we are going to study about 8086 functional diagram, register organization, memory segmentation, programmer's model, memory address, physical memory organization, architecture of 8086, signal description, and interrupts. Okay, so these are the in this these four are important topics. So instruction set and assembly language, we are going to study about addressing modes, instruction sets, okay, assembler directives, macros, programs involved logical branch and call instructions, sorting, string manipulations. We'll study about in the second part of the first unit. Okay. Now, now we'll see about 8086 microprocessor. So it is launched in which year? 1978. 8086 is launched in 1978. It's a 16-bit microprocessor. 16-bit means what? It will process the 16-bit data. It will process the 16-bit data. So 16-bit data means it consists of 16-bit data D0 to D15. Okay, and it consists of 20-bit address bus. 20-bit address bus is A0 to A19. Okay, so that means 20-bit address means, as I told you, memory size is defined as 2 power n. Okay, so 2 power n, n is nothing but number of address lanes. So that means 2 power 20. 2 power 20 means it can access up to how much of memory? It can access up to 2 power 20. That means 1 MB memory locations. 1 MB. 2 power 20 means 1 MB memory location. Okay, so in order to decrease the pin size, uh, so address, lower order address, that means AD0 to AD15. So first 16 data bus and the first 16 address bus will be multiplex. That will be in combined state. So that will be in combined state. Okay, and A16 to A19 are separated. Okay, so that means AD0 to AD15 address and data lines are multiplexed, and A16 to A19 are separate. Okay, so it can support up to 64 kilobytes of IO ports. So you can connect 64 kilobytes, 64K. Okay, 64 is the 2 power how much? 2 power 6 into K means 2 power 10. So 2 power 16 IO ports we can connect to the microprocessor. Okay, 64K IO ports we can support up to 64K IO. 2 power 16 IO ports it can support. Okay, and next, so if you see, it provides 14 16-bit registers. Provides 14 16-bit registers, and it requires a phase clock with 33% duty cycle. As you know, what is duty cycle? Okay, so duty cycle is given by T on by T on by T on plus T on plus T off. Okay, so 33% duty cycle. So what is the range of clock frequency? As I told you, it is available in three versions. 8086 is 5 megahertz, 80862 is 8 megahertz, 80861 is 10 megahertz. These are the clock frequencies. Okay, these are the clock frequencies. So 8086 employs parallel processing. Parallel processing means what? Parallelly it will do fetch, decode, and execute. So if you see the architecture of 8086, it consists of two buses, two parts. One is a bus interface unit and execution. Okay, so that means what the bus interface unit will do? It will fetch. It will do the fetch operation. It will do the fetch operation, and decode and execute will be done by the execution EU. Okay, so CPU functions is, as I told you in the previous slide, fetch, decode, and execute. Okay, so that means whatever the instruction is there, that will be fetched from the memory. After fetching from the memory, that should be decoded. Okay, that should be decoded. That means processor should convert whatever the fetched information into understandable language. So that means that it need to decode. After decoding, it should execute the instruction. Okay, so that means whatever the fetch instruction, fetch operation is there, that will be done by the bus interface unit, and decode and execute instruction is there, that will be done by the execution unit. Okay, so okay, so okay, bus interface unit. What is the operation of bus interface unit? It sends out address from per memory location. That means it sends out. That means bus interface unit. That means it should interface, it should connect to the external world. Our memory is outside. 1 MB of memory is outside. It sends out address for memory location. Okay. So it will send the address to the memory location. Okay. After sending the address to the memory location, again it fetch the instruction from the memory. Okay. So that means it will give the address to the memory location. In that address location, some instruction is there. It will be fetched from the memory. After fetching, it can reads or writes the data into memory. Okay. After processing, what happens? It can read the data from the memory or it can write the data memory. Okay. And it sends out address for IO port. Okay. It can reads or writes the data into the input output port. That means the main operation of bus interface unit is to communicate with the external peripherals. What is our external peripherals? Memory. It can access the address from for the memory. It can read the data into the memory, or it can read the data into the IO ports. IO ports means our external peripherals. Okay. So this is main operation of bus interface unit. And what is the execution unit will do? It will test the BAU. It will test the bus interface unit where to fetch the instructions or data. Okay. So that means it will tells the bus interface unit that bus interface unit where to fetch the instruction or data from the memory. Okay. It will guide the bus interface unit. Okay. And also it will, so whatever the instruction is fetched, again what it will do, it will decode and it will execute the instruction. Okay. So that means there will be a dividing of work done by the bus interface unit and executed. So parallel processing will be done so that it will speeds up the processing. Understood? So that means fetch operation will be done by the bus interface unit, and decoding and execution operation will be done by the execution unit. So due to this work division, it speeds up the processing. The processing speeds will be increased due to this division of work. Okay. So this is nothing but we call as a parallel processing. This is nothing but parallel processing. Okay. So